Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Reminder to share your opinion on the TikTok that I posted in yesterday's episode, at the end of yesterday's episode. If you share your opinion in the comment section on Spotify, YouTube, even in our DMs, we may include it in our close friends newsletter coming up. All right, let's get into the stories for today. So the first story that I have for you guys is that Kylan Darnell is, quote, taking a break from Rush amid some backlash. So Kylan Darnell is kind of like the OG Bama Rush girl who rose to fame on TikTok for sharing her experience rushing Greek life at the University of Alabama back in 2022. Kylan has since amassed 1.2 million followers and is going into her senior year of college. Kylan really became the face of Rush Talk for a period there, so it came as a massive surprise to everyone who follows this niche on TikTok that Kylan announced on August 11th she would be taking a break from both social media and Rush.
I have personally decided to take a mental health day these next 3 days and through this philanthropy round, because whenever I first came to the University of Alabama, I had no idea that my life was going to turn into what it has. I was just a girl that thought it was so neat what I was doing, because being from Ohio, I had no idea that you shouldn't have posted on social media. I had no idea that it was frowned upon. I had no idea the backlash or the positivity that I would get for it. I had no idea that I'd be sitting in the shoes I am today with the voice I have today. But I've grown and it's not really like that anymore. I've decided to take a couple steps back to protect my own peace. I've just noticed that a lot of things that are true or aren't true are being said online. And that happens every year. I've just noticed that this year it's a lot worse and it's a lot more amped up.
There's also a lot of people in the comments saying you can't just take a break from Rush. I don't know. I'm Canadian. We don't really have the same sorority fraternity system at our university. So I am not really familiar with Greek life, but if you guys are, let me know what you think about taking a break from Rush. So this is from hercampus.com. They wrote, others pointed out that Bama Zeta's official social media accounts have not been featuring posts from Darnell this year, and some are wondering whether that has anything to do with Darnell's decision to step back. That said, most seniors are less active during Rush than underclassmen, so it isn't really abnormal for Zeta to not be posting her. Also, some are wondering whether Darnell's mom, Tanya, could have something to do with Darnell stepping back, considering Tanya is in the midst of sharing a multi-part TikTok series about the struggles she's faced dealing with Darnell's career. A series that Darnell does not seem happy about, according to a video she posted on the evening of August 11th, where she clarified that she is currently not in a legal battle like some assumed after watching Tanya's TikToks. So there was this rumor going around that Kylan was being sued by a brand related to some type of sponsorship, and that's why she had to step back from Rush. Something I also found that I think maybe explains this more is that Kylan got a lot of backlash just this past week when she posted a video on TikTok during Rush. It was part of Rush, okay? I think it was called Work Week. Again, I don't know these things, but it was for Work Week. She was dressed as a pilot and she was posing in a vintage military plane. However, the plane had swastikas all over it, and she got a ton of backlash for posing in a plane with swastikas all over it. She actually responded to the backlash. She changed the caption of this video, and this is what it says. Hey y'all, I wanted to address some concerns that have come up about recent Rush video I posted with a vintage military airplane, and give a little history lesson while we're at it. The aircraft in my video is a restored World War II American fighter plane. During the war, U.S. fighter pilots would paint small enemy symbols on their planes to show how many Nazi aircraft they had shot down. They were called kill marks and were basically bragging rights for defeating the enemy. I know not everyone is familiar with this part of history, so seeing a swastika without context can definitely be shocking and upsetting. I totally get that, but in this case, those markings are actually a badge of honor for helping defeat Nazi Germany, not support it. I have never and never will condone hate of any kind, and I hope this clears things up. That last line is very interesting to me because if you know one thing about Kylan Darnell, it's that she is a giant public Trump supporter and she posted herself like dancing around when Trump won. Anyways, I think in general, the spotlight on Kylan has probably become an issue for her with her sorority life and the rush recruitment process in general. Her sorority is allegedly deleting comments when people are asking where she is. And in general, I mean, we know that these sororities, these organizations don't necessarily love rush talk. So I think it makes sense that like the heat she got for the swastika plane and just like in general, maybe some of the other stuff that's been going on in her family, her mom, she got a lot of like backlash. Like she had a few different kind of like, I guess, scandals over the past 12 months. Maybe all of that has contributed to her being asked to take a step back. I don't know. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys, I wanted to share my perspective. So Garbage Day, which is an internet culture newsletter written by Ryan Broderick, he did a little blurb about Australian and British media and why our like celebrity interviews are so bad. And so I wanted to actually just like share my opinion on this. The reason being is a reporter in the UK asked the director Celine Song about a specific like letterboxed review of her recent film, The Materialists. The review said that they were basically disappointed because Dakota Johnson's character ends up with like a broke guy in the end of the movie. Celine Song did not find this funny and, gave a very thoughtful and, as Ryan Broderick puts it, passionate response about why that's a disgusting way to view the movie as well as life in general. He said, "The reason I'm including this video is because it's a perfect example of what I've been calling the British and Australian viral celebrity interview dog food factory. It's not totally unique to British and Australian media, but 9 times out of 10, if you see a celebrity full body cringing in a viral interview clip, it's almost always a reporter from the UK or Australia asking the question. And the questions are almost always not really questions, but some contrived setup to make the celebrity react to a random piece of fandom garbage from the internet." And this is so true. I cannot stress enough the state of entertainment journalism I don't know about the UK, okay, but like Australia specifically, running a media business here, especially in entertainment and pop culture. I see this so clearly. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe he has noticed that. So I think there's a few reasons why this has happened. I just wanted to share that perspective and then share why I think this has happened as somebody who is obviously very invested in all of this. So first, he notes this, but we don't have frequent access to true like A-listers for a lot of in real life interviews. So the press junkets are so packed. Sometimes you literally get 5 minutes with a celebrity, so you can't really ask a lot of questions with substance. So it's already kind of set up by, like the movie studio's PR team to almost incentivize these very like sharp soundbitey type of questions, which I do think is why sometimes in these shorter press junket opportunities, we should be putting senior journalists on these opportunities. I think it is way more complex to orchestrate an interview that is literally like 5 to 10 minutes than it is to sometimes do a long form interview. The point of entertainment journalism is to extract information about the art, not like make the audience laugh. There can be some of that in it, of course. But what he's saying, and what I do believe is true, is that so much entertainment journalism now, especially in this country, is made for TikTok sound bites, and it doesn't actually like give you any insight into the art or why the actor wanted to work on this project or whatever. Then I think when you look at how fast the media landscape changed when the rise of TikTok happened, I think that plays a huge role in why we get interviews like this. Brands, media companies, just like the advertising industry in general, everyone is like so traumatized by missing out on the early rise of TikTok. So many entertainment outlets in Australia, I'm not even joking, didn't even start posting on TikTok, using TikTok, or like consistently being on TikTok, showing up on TikTok until like 2023. So imagine trying to maintain that like you as a media brand are an authority in pop culture or youth culture when you're not even investing in the main platform that is driving both of those things and has been for the last several years. And like those sound bites obviously don't foster any type of like respect for the brand. They might get views, they might get a laugh, they might get follows, but it kind of harks back for me to like BuzzFeed where the headlines were crazy and just very like youth culture-y. when really like young people were screaming at us to just talk to them like adults. Like the BuzzFeed culture, it worked for a hot second because it was so different than anything that we had ever seen in the media before. And millennials were like, oh my God, yes, this is so unserious. Like I love being spoken to like a friend. But it's like Duolingo now for Gen Z. Like it was funny because it was so outrageous and crazy at the time, but it got old so fast. And now it's like, please stop. Not everything needs to be brain rot. And then you've kind of pigeonholed yourself because BuzzFeed, they launched BuzzFeed News. BuzzFeed News was doing like genuine journalism, like hard news coverage, but they could not, I mean, they closed and they could not break out of that reputation of being associated with BuzzFeed. They really couldn't establish themselves as an authority in anything that was like a little bit more serious because of this. Now, the overarching problem here is money or like the lack thereof in media specifically, but especially in Australian media. There are a handful of conglomerates that own most of the media in Australia. Like there is quite a monopoly in this country. So when you have a country that has smaller budgets because we have a smaller population and there are fewer options, everyone is competing for those same campaigns, those same ad dollars. There's no TikTok creator fund here, so the publishers that are posting these like viral sound bites, they're not doing it for like the money off the back of that video specifically. Like they're doing it for engagement. They're doing it so that they can now update a deck that says we reach X amount of people a month now, or you know, they have like a follower count that goes up or whatever. It's all so that they can get these campaign budgets. And while that's not necessarily unique to Australia or media, there's so much more pressure in a small market for every resource to matter. So if you're sending a journalist to do a press junket for 5 minutes, they have 5 minutes, but they have to travel there, they have to write the questions, like they're spending time and energy on this when they're not sitting at their desk writing 3 stories a day to drive traffic to your website so you could actually make money off the back of programmatic ads or whatever. You know, like this has to pay off. There's very little focus in mainstream media, at least in my experience, on balance, like editorial balance. Like we post things, Centennial World, that we know will go viral or like do well. And then we also post a lot of stuff that we know won't. But we post that other stuff because it gives our brand something else. It gives us legitimacy in a certain category. It fosters respect with our audience. It helps bring integrity to our brand. So we're not just covering like kind of newsy, drama-y pop culture stuff. But I can make that decision because I own my company. Mainstream media is largely governed by executive teams who aren't invested in the integrity of the brands in the same way. They care about the bottom line, and virality helps the bottom line. Okay, the last story that I have for you guys. Swifties were convinced that Taylor Swift was dropping a new album, and they were right. The speculation all started when Taylor Nation, the official Taylor Swift social media team, posted a photo dump with pictures of Taylor wearing orange. All the pictures were from the Eras Tour, and the caption read, thinking about when she said, "See you next era." Around the same time that Taylor Nation posted, Travis Kelce teased an upcoming guest on his podcast, New Heights. The guest was blacked out in the photo, but the background was sparkly orange, and according to Swifties, there was no way that this could have been a coincidence. Then, to add fuel to the fire, Taylor Swift's official website began a countdown with the same sparkly background. Then it was confirmed that Taylor is the surprise guest on the podcast, with the New Heights team posting a clip of her from the recording. So the podcast is going to go live in like a day and a half, but the countdown on Taylor Swift's official website was for a different time. It was set to August 12th at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. And Swifties noted that her next studio album would be her 12th. So they were like, she is definitely releasing a new album. So when the countdown ended just like an hour ago, it was revealed that Taylor's upcoming album is called The Life of a Showgirl. The website has pre-orders open, and the New Heights podcast posted a clip of Taylor announcing the name of the album. Okay, I've not seen the fan theories, so I could be very misinformed. I think it is still possible that this is like a live recording of the Eras Tour. The Life of a Showgirl, that would be relevant. That would make sense. But then I guess the picture saying, "See you in the next era." I don't know. I obviously am a Taylor Swift fan. I went to the Eras Tour twice. Like, she was my favorite artist of last year on Spotify. She was like my most streamed. And I do love her, but like, please, let's just take like a little break. I feel like we still need to decompress from the Eras Tour. And like her releasing Tortured Poets Department, which was my top album of last year. Like, I actually loved that album. Her releasing that in the middle of the Eras Tour, I don't know. I feel like she's a bit overexposed still. Even though she has been taking a break, she is overexposed. And unfortunately, now I am going to be forced to listen to a boy podcast to hear what she has to say. I don't want to listen to a boy podcast. I don't want to listen to a sports podcast. Is that even what they talk about? I don't know. I don't want to listen to a boy podcast, but I'm going to. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Annabelle might talk to you guys tomorrow, but it also might be me because she has lost her voice. So we'll see how she's doing. But somebody will talk to you tomorrow, and then I will definitely talk to you on Thursday. Bye.